Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So just to explain a little bit about what this video is about and why I'm doing it, I was actually halfway through editing the next part of the Sikh Dad first series, when obviously, you know, like everybody else, last Thursday I heard of the sort of tragic passing of our brother Bhai Jagraj Singh, and was in total shock at the time, and the feeling, like it is now as well, is still very raw, and it's in the hearts and the minds of all of us Sikhs all over the world. So I just didn't feel right at that moment in time to carry on, and obviously Bhai Jagraj Singh being a Sikh dad himself, I felt it only right and fitting that that the next video be about him, and it's quite ironic because he played such a pivotal part in the start of my journey into Sikhi, and I know most of you are probably thinking about basics of Sikhi, but no, this is way before that, and this is back in 2004, so be 13 years next month. It's quite ironic as well, because, you know, Bhai Sab's organisation, everything's 13, and I just wanted to share my experience with you about how he inspired me at the start of my journey into Sikhi. So to set the scene a little bit, like I said, it's back in 2004, and I'm 21 years old, and going through university, and I guess I'm just like any other normal Punjabi boy, doing most of the things that were against Sikhi, not really knowing much about Sikhi, not really wanting to know either about it, and basically sort of is getting on to the point of my final year at uni, and I met a couple of friends who were Sikhs, that had the star and Dari had the form of a Sikh, which I really respected, and one of my friends, he was a few years older than me, and physically he was, you know, much bigger than me, and I looked up to him and I respected him a lot, and he mentioned that there was a camp going on in the summer, why didn't I come along to it, and he would take me and things like that. And like I said, like, I had a lot of respect for him, so it was kind of like, yeah, you know, I'm absolutely fine with that. And sort of my parents had taken Amrit and had been to the Gurdwara, you know, every weekend growing up, kind of thing, so I wasn't afraid of any of this. It was just for me like going to the Gurdwara, going to another camp like I'd done since I was a kid, so I wasn't at all sort of alarmed or nervous about it. It was something I'd experienced before, really, and like I said, I was kind of looking forward to it. So the actual audio of that night, which I'm about to describe to you, is actually on the Basics of Sikhi YouTube channel, and it's quite a long audio. So what I've done is I've taken the most memorable bits out of it, and I'll be commenting on them as we go through, and I couldn't believe it when I found out that Bhai Jagraj Singh had actually put that whole audio on YouTube, and I was so thankful to him at the time for doing that, as you'll find out as we go along. So I'm going to take you back to the moment when it all began, and Bhai Sahib started his talk by doing an introduction.
Today's talk is going to be about that gurus and God's guns are so many that we even shudder to try to think that we could pass them on to you in some way. But this is what we're here for. This is what this camp is about. We are here like dogs to bark about him. How can we even talk about him? But we're going to try. And the whole point of this is just somehow to get across to you why people on this side, or just people that you see walking around like myself, couple of years ago, decided to just give it all up and go to Guru. Why?
After his introduction was complete, Bhai Sahib then went on to talk about Hookamnama.
Between Guruji and the Granth, there is no difference. You know, when you do Hookamnama, that's in your ardas, you're asking God or Guru, right, this is what I want, help me out. That Shabad they read out afterwards, the Hookamnama, that is the Guru's message to you. And opening up on any random page, around about 600 to 800, because that's where Guruji put the smaller Shabads for Hookamnama, okay? And just read out a Shabad. The first Shabad on the left hand side, that starts with, that is your message.
So now was probably the first time when I began to notice Bhai Sahib and what he looked like and what he sounded like, and I started listening to what he was talking about the Hookamnama. Maybe I'd heard of what Hookamnama, like the word, was before. I'm not quite sure now, but I certainly didn't know what it meant. And he, like you've listened to, he began to explain what Hookamnama was, and in my head I began to, start to think about the importance of it. And obviously he shared, how pivotal it was in his life and how it changed it. And I started to think about the actual power of it, and maybe start to question whether it actually works, and the power of that command.
People won't believe the power of Hookamnama, but it's there, right? Look around this room and you will look at things who've changed their lives based on Hookamnama, that have cried out in tears because Guru spoke to them.
So at this point in my head I was thinking, wow, Guruji does actually speak to you, and as Bhai Sahib had mentioned, there'd been people that he knew about that had actually experienced this. So for me, this was the first time that I was actually thinking about how Sikhi was linked to your emotion, your feelings, and love. And as he'd mentioned, people had been in tears because Guruji had spoken to them, and that was something I was really shocked about at the time.
The reason you are here to bow in front of the Guru Granth Sahib Ji is because it lets you swim across this ocean that you are in.
So at this point I'd really began to kind of sit up straight and listen to who was speaking to me, and what was in front of me. And as Bhai Sahib had mentioned, that analogy of the reason why we were here, to bow our heads to Guruji, and he mentioned the ocean, I started to envisage these things in my mind.
Imagine you were in the sea and everybody was swimming one way, and you went up to one of those people and said, just tapped him on the shoulder, where are you going? You go, I don't know. You go, why are you going this way? Because everybody else is going that way. You say, but where are you going? What's the point? And they go, because of this, this and this. And you go, but it's not going to go with you. There's no point to it. And he goes, yeah, I know that, but everybody else is going this way. Most of us do not have any clue why we do what our aim in life is.
So far, this is probably the moment where I'd had the biggest realization, and I'd imagined that analogy that he presented to us in my head. And at that moment in my life, I was doing things without any purpose, really. I felt like I had no aims, I had no goals, no ambitions. I didn't know where I was heading, I didn't know my direction or anything like that. And I'd measure that by looking at people around me, and they seemed to kind of know what they were doing and they had a plan, really, and I had none of that. And that was a sort of a real bitter truth when he pointed that out, that most people don't really know what they're doing. And I really related to that at that moment in time.
That person who swims the opposite way to everybody else is seen as a stranger. They go, why is he doing that? Kyun? Why is he going that way? Because he goes, because someone's teaching me. Someone's teaching me that is not the way to go. Sat Guru. You go to school, you got a maths guru, a physics guru, chemistry guru. They're the ones that teach you about maths, chemistry, physics. Or who teaches you about truth? Who comes up to you and says, this is the truth?
So now, as Bhai Sahib further expanded on that analogy that he'd given about swimming in the opposite direction now, and now he began to speak about the Guru and linking it with that key word, which is truth.
Guru Granth Sahib Ji is one and totally a song about love to God. Guru Nanak is serenading God. He's saying, let me love you. I love you again and again. Let me fall in love with you. And you wonder how you're going to do it. The biggest thing, I was talking to someone, the biggest thing you can do is fall in love with God.
I was totally amazed at this point, because in my life I'd never heard anybody speak about Guru Granth Sahib Ji in that way and explain it with so much love. And I felt that he was in love with Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj because just of the way he was talking about Guruji. And for the first time I started to think, wow, is this what it's all about? Is Guru Granth Sahib Ji all about love?
I'm tired, I've lost, I've seen the world and I'm lost. You see people around here, we've done it. What they said was the best, we did it. Lived the life and it was empty. Khali si. Har ke, we said, give me God, forget the rest. But we couldn't do it because sade karam ine maade. So many paps on our sir. And even you sitting here now are thinking the same thing. I'm not good enough. Mara says it again and again. All of us thought that. But there's one thing that Mara says. Lekha chod lekhe chute. Hum nirgun leho ubari. Guru Nanak says it. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says it. Main nirgun. Asiki says, I'll take away your lekha. What you done, I wipe out. You're asking him, all of us asked him, Maharaj, I've been so bad. Bhul jao. I am worthless. Manu bacha lo. Hum nirgun leho ubari. And then Guru says, is he? Can he do it? Can he forget all the paps I did and still accept me into his darbar? The Maharaj says, haan, sad baksand, sada mehrvana, sabna de adhari. He is baksand, he is mehrvan, and he will save all of us. Ye jhoot nahi haiga. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says it. I believe him before I believe anybody else.
So now I felt that he was really talking to me at this point. He was really talking about me, because I felt exactly like that. I felt like I was tired and sick of everything, doing the same things, going to the same places, seeing the same people, the same old everything really. And I could really relate to what he was talking about, just being sort of exhausted.
You've come on this earth to take God's name. You've come to live a pure life. Do Naam Simran, do Seva, earn your living honestly, and that is it. Sing the Kirtan in the Sadh Sangat. It's so simple, it's shocking. And you think, is that it? But then you start doing it and it hits you. You think, wow, I want more. I want more, I want more, I want more. Chuck me in a Kirtan Darbar, leave me there. Lock the doors. Let me out. I want to stay. So this time when we sing this Shabad, we say to God, Rakh leho ehi bari. Haan, main bahut bari paap kita hai. Is bari manu rakh lo. Save me this time. Hun bacha lo. I know it's hard for you to think about it because you think you're too filthy, and we all do. But this is your time to ask Maharaj, say, just save me. Keep in your mind what you're here for. You are here. You are Maharaj. Rakh leho, rakh leho, rakh leho, rakh leho. Eh bari, is bari manu Rab bacha lo. And I want you to sing as much as your heart wants to sing. And don't be scared of these people around you, okay? And think they might laugh at you. Just sing. Just sing at the top. And if you feel like you're going to go, just go. Go. Just give your head. Fall down at your Guru's feet. This time we're going to sing it, okay?
So that was it really. He pretty much summed it up at that moment for me, because I, like most of us, always thought that I just wasn't good enough, that this just wasn't for me. And you know, you think about all the things that you've done that are against Sikhi, and you look at other people that you think are the model Sikhs, and him at that moment, he was in total emotion as well. He was it was really raw at that moment in the air, the atmosphere. It just felt like so emotional, and as you can hear from his voice, he was in tears as well when he was on stage, and I was just taken aback by that. It really struck a chord with me that someone could be so emotional about this. So he spoke about forgiveness, and he spoke about acceptance, which were things where like I was like, wow, is there really someone out there that forgives you? Is there really someone there that really accepts you as their own? I'd never ever thought about those things, that there was anybody out there like that. He really made it sound so appealing that now in my head I was thinking to myself, wow, I need to try to experience this, and I need to try to experience this now, exactly where I am in this location. So I guess the Kirtan had been going on for a little while now, and I guess I'd been trying to join in as much as I could, but this was such a key moment when he said, just sing, Rakh leho, save me, save me. So he was telling us very simply what we needed to do, and for someone like me at that moment, that's exactly what I needed. I needed it so simple and so broken down that I could follow it, and that was absolutely amazing. And he also had said that we were sitting quite far back, and that don't sit so far back, come forward. And I had got up, and normally I would have kind of looked around at, you know, friends or whatever who's sitting around with me, thinking, oh, maybe someone else move forward first, or let's all go together, or let's, you know, what's he talking about, kind of thing. But at that moment in time, I was just so mesmerized that I just stood up myself and just moved forward and sat so close to the front. I'd never done anything like that before, ever. So he said, just sing your heart out and leave it all out there. And that's exactly how I felt at that moment. Nothing else in the world mattered to me at that moment, and I just felt like he was there, Guru Granth Sahib was there, I was there, and I didn't care about anybody else around me, what I was looking like, or who was there or who wasn't there, or anything. And I really felt at that moment that this was my time to just follow exactly what he was saying. It was so clear in my mind what I needed to do.
Sharan, and we're offering ourselves to our Guru. It's that, like you're standing on the edge of a cliff, right? And on the other side is Guru Gobind Singh Ji with his arms open, and you just think, if I jump, he'd catch me. But have I got the guts to jump? Just jump. That's what we want you to do. What Baji was talking about, believing is seeing. That's it. Just jump. Don't be scared, because Sadguru Nanak is there to catch you. Believe, don't believe me. Believe these things here that inspired me. When they tell you, he'll catch you. He's there. You go to his sharan, he ain't going to turn you away. Because that's not his job. He is Satguru Nanak.
So again, Bhai Sahib was coming out with these really simple but really effective analogies. So he was talking about jumping and Guruji being on the other side to catch you, and us not having doubt in that, and that people had told him before to do the same thing and just believe in it. So again, that was something that came into my head, that is this possible, and I started to try to envisage what he was explaining.
You are here to be Guru de Bacche, and you are here to sing his praises because he is such a Guru. Aise Guru ko bal bal chahiye. Okay, Benji's now going to do a shabad.
So again, Bhai Sahib went on to refer back to the reason why we was all there, but he said loves a sort of phrase that I hadn't heard before. He said Guru de Bacche, that I'd always thought, you know, obviously the Guru had children and things like that, and like Guru Gobind Singh had the Sahibzade, and they were his sons and nobody else really, but he referred to all of us as Guru de Bacche, like the children of the Guru. And I was just like, wow, is that possible? Are we his children really? And then, as you can hear from what he said after that, is that the Kirtan was, Benji was about to do a Shabad now, and that's really something amazing, and I could not have imagined what was about to happen after that.
See the translation up there. This is Guruji. He's singing to God. Maharaj, this is me. I'm a puppy. You destroy sin. You don't destroy the sinners. You destroy sins. Japji Sahib says it. Sunye dukh paap ka nas. Just you sitting in this Sangat right now is destroying your sins. You are like a panda, a dirty bowl. Guruji's just wiping it. Holy, holy, you're in here. He's washing you with his love. Holy, holy, you're getting purer. Just sitting here and singing his praises.
So this is probably the first time I'd really sang a Shabad from Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. And as soon as Bhai Sahib said it, he said, look up at the screen, the translation. And, you know, I'd been sitting there for, I don't know how long, how many days or whatever. I'd never really looked up at what was on the screen and really taken notice of it. And this was the first time that I'd done that. And I happened to look at it on those lines, Madho hame se tu aisa, hum papi tum pap khandani ko thakur desa. And I just could not believe what was in front of my eyes, what that translation actually was referring to. And it was so, the truth was just so sharp, it was just so hard to take at that moment. It was just like, I could not believe what was in front of my eyes, that Madho Hame said that this is what we are, Tu aisa, this is what you are, Hum papi tum pap khandan, that I am the sinner, you are the destroyer of those sins. Because I always thought to myself that I was, like I said before, like everybody else thinks that they're so bad, that there's no way out really. But this had given me a way out. That we make mistakes all the time, but there's a channel, there's a way to be forgiven. There's a way out of this all at that moment, and that was something that was just absolutely mesmerizing at that moment. And it was all from that Shabad, and it was so unexpected. So like Bhai Sahib said, he said that where we are right now at this moment in time, this is a Sangat, and this is what is destroying those sins, those mistakes that you made in your past or whatever. This is the way to do it. And that was such a revelation to me, that I was like, wow, I'm here right now and I'm able to do this. And like I said, there's a way out of this. And that feeling that I had at that moment, it was one that I just total wonderstruck, and I just find it very difficult to explain at that moment what I was feeling. But I felt like I had electricity like running through me at like some voltage that I just could not handle, and I had tears in my eyes, and I felt like totally numb, like I had, my whole body was like had pins and needles, and I just couldn't move. But that experience, that feeling I had at that moment in time, is one that I just did not want to end. I didn't want it to end at all, and I just carried on as the Shabad went on. I just kept on singing it, just singing my heart out, like he'd said before, and like I said, I could never have imagined that this was happening to me at that moment. The words of this Shabad were just so piercing, and the way this Benji was just singing this Shabad was just like something I'd never ever heard before. I'd never heard anybody sing like this before, but then I'd never been so close to the Kirtan before, and sort of vibrations of Kirtan and Naam Simran that was going on at the time. But I really felt alive for the first time, I could say, in my life. I really felt like I knew what it was to be alive, and I just, wanted it to carry on as long as possible. So now the Kirtan had finished, and then Bhai Sahib carried on talking, and I felt so much happiness at this moment, so much bliss, so much enjoyment from that present moment, more than I'd ever experienced in my life.
Maharaj gives us Sikhi to the max. He gives us Guru Sikhs. He sends people to you to speak to you in English. He sends people who can sing like that, just so you can come closer to him. He ain't doing it for anybody else. It's for you, because he loves you that much. He'd do anything for you to step forward closer to him. You came to the camp, that was your one step, 35, 45 pound, and you came to the camp. And he gave you all this. You never expected it, but he gave it to you. That is when Bhai Gurdas he goes, Charana Sarana Gur, Ek Panda Jaye Chal, Sat Gur Kot Panda Aage Hoye Let Hai. If you take one step towards the Guru's Sharan, to his sanctuary, you walk towards him just one step. He takes thousands and thousands towards you. Tan Aisa Guru. He is Mukat, but he drags me across with him. That is why we say Tan Guru Nanak. That is why we bow down to Guru Granth Sahib Ji. that is your Guru. And he says to you, don't worry about anything else. I'll take care of everything else. Sare kaaj unhe swar dene. Say it in Anand Sahib all the time. But don't forget him. Just say his name. We said at the beginning, there's far too much we can even talk day long, day night. But it's 9 o'clock now. So we'll do some abdi. But all of you felt hopefully something today. We'll do ardas, ask Maharaj for a hukum, listen to Maharaj's hukum, translate it.
He mentioned all of those things that our Guru does for us. And this was the first time I'd ever heard anybody speaking like this, that this is what your Guru actually does for you. He does this for me. And I was just totally, again, in awe of what I was listening to. And it felt like he was talking directly at me, that this is what you're here for, this is why you came, this was meant to happen to you. And that was just echoing around me. And then he talked about taking that first step to Guru, and that was coming to the camp. For me, that was my first step, even though I hadn't realized it. And that shabad that he spoke about, Bhai Gurdas, from Bhai Gurdas's Var, Charan Sharan Guru Ek Penda Jai Chal Sat Guru Kot Penda Age Hoy Lete Hai, that you take one step towards your Guru, and Guru takes thousands of steps towards you. And that was just totally mind-blowing at that time, that you have to do so little and Guruji does so much for you. And I just could not comprehend that at the moment, but I was feeling to myself that I wanted to take these steps because I wanted Guruji to come thousands and thousands of steps closer to me. So that was resonating with inside me, that this is what I wanted at that moment. So now the program was coming to an end, and I didn't want it to come to an end because I was just feeling like on such a high, and I didn't want it to end. But it was really good because he spoke about the Hookamnama again, and it made me remember of what he'd said at the start, about how Guruji speaks to you. And I really thought, now, hey, this is a test now, to see what this is all about. Does Guruji really speak to you through Hookamnama? And I really, in my mind, I'd put it out there that I was testing my Guru, you could say, and I feel bad saying that now, but yeah, at that moment I was like, let's see what this is all about. Let's see what the Hookamnama is going to bring. Let's see what this ardas, this prayer is all about, that I'd heard ever since I was little, but probably never taken notice of it at all. But I was really putting it out there that this was such an important moment for me, and that this could decide what happens next, really. So, as I'm sure you've probably guessed, Guruji didn't let me down, and the Hookamnama came out, and looking at the projector screen, so I didn't really know what Rag meant or anything like that, and what Guruji had written, that but I was just looking out for the English translations to try to make sense of it, and just to see have I been spoken to, and I really felt that I had, because Bhai Sahib had spoken about so many analogies, as in swimming in the water and what way we're going, and jumping across to the other side, Guruji's waiting for you, and all these things. And basically the main thing that I got from that Hookamnama was that in this dark age of Kaljug that we are living in, that the Shabad is what takes us across the other side. And it had given an analogy in that Hookamnama about the ocean, which Bhai Sahib had also mentioned repeatedly, and that the Shabad is what ferries us across that ocean. And at that moment I was just like, wow, I'd been spoken to, because all along this is what he'd been talking about, and when I'd put it to the test, it was kind of sort of finalized for me, and sort of kind of rubber stamped that, yeah, hey, this is the real thing for you. So after the Hookamnama, the end of the Diwan, we went and had our evening meal, our dinner, and then we went back to our rooms, and I really felt from that moment totally different person inside, and I was quite quiet that evening, and I was taking it all in, thinking, what's going on, what's happened here, am I imagining things, or you know, am I crazy, or you know, what's going on. And like I said, I felt I was really quiet and very internal, thinking about things. And I remember the last thing that I thought about before I went to sleep, I was like, okay, you feel like this now, but when you wake up in the morning, let's see how you feel. Is this real, or has it passed? And when I woke up in the morning, I woke up with a smile on my face for the first time in probably ever, I don't know, since a real smile. And I felt alive, and I felt happy inside. And when I woke up like that, I really felt, hey, this is real, this is the real thing. And later on in the day, we had lectures and things like that, like we normally had, and my ears were open to this, and they were hearing words like his name, Amrit, that I'd never ever thought I'd ever consider in my life. But I was listening to all these things, and I was looking at things with dastara and beards, and I was thinking about, wow, I want to look like that, which was totally amazing and so far out there, because anyone that would know me, I was so into my hairstyles and things like that, then I could never have envisaged ever looking like that. But all these things, like my eyes had totally changed. I was looking at things totally different, and I was listening to things that had never ever reached me before. So that same day, around lunchtime, I started to think to myself that I need to approach this guy, who I didn't actually know, and I'd worked it out in my head what I was going to say to him, but you know, I was quite nervous about approaching him, because even back then he was, you know, the life and soul. You know, he could tell straight away, even without knowing him, that he was the type of person that could light up a room, and everybody was always around him, even then. And I kind of went near him, and he was talking to some people, and I was thinking, I hope at some point he just by himself, and I can just go up to him. And that actually thankfully that happened, and he was standing by himself, and I went up to him, and like I said, in my mind I had a plan of what I was going to say to him, but I just went in front of him, and just kind of, it just all came out really, all the emotion just came out, and I just kind of broke down, I guess, and I can't even remember really what I was saying to him. It wasn't making much sense at all. He probably thought, what's wrong with this guy? Yeah, I was just talking to him about what happened the night before, and saying to him, you know, like, you know, how did you know these things about me? You know, when you were talking, it was like you was explaining my life and all of these really things that are really far out there, but really he was just amazing. Really, at that time he was just that sort of reassuring voice that I needed at that point, just to say everything's going to be all right, and he was that sort of arm around the shoulder at that point, which was, when I look back, is so crucial, because if it'd been anything else, then I don't know, I may not be where I am now really. In that way, he was just everything I needed at that moment, and he just said the same reassuring things that he'd said the night before. He just said, don't worry. He just goes, just go head first. Just kept like repeating himself, just go head first, and Guruji will take care of everything. He will take care of the rest. You won't need to worry about that. He goes, just go head first. And after I left him, I thought, okay, how I'm feeling inside is just going to be projected on the outside now, and I'm just going to try to be myself and just take each day as it comes really. So after the camp, I decided to start my new journey basically. What actually had already been decided for me that on that Tuesday night. Really, it all, my mind was totally made up, but I guess I just needed to confirm things. And as the days went on, you know, things just got better and better for me. And like I said, I started a whole new life where I could actually just be myself, and that was good enough. I didn't need to try to be somebody I wasn't and do things just for the sake of it, really. And I felt really content about things, and I had aims, I had purpose, I had goals. I really felt a part of something for the first time in my life. So since then, with Guruji's Kirpa, I have been blessed with Amrit, and through Guruji and the support of the Sangat, tried to adopt the Sikh lifestyle. And yeah, sure, like everybody else, I've had my share of ups and downs, highs and lows, whatever you want to call them. But they've, each high and each low has made me what I am today, and I wouldn't change any of it for the world. That's for sure. The role that Bhai Jagraj Singh played in my journey right at the start, I don't think I'll ever be able to thank him enough for that, and ever be able to repay him. Just like Guru Sahib, what Guru Sahib does for his Sikhs, we'll never ever be able to repay our Guru for what he does for us in a similar way. What Guru Sikhs also do for us on a daily basis, whether we know about it or we don't know about it, we'll never be able to repay them either for what they do. And in a similar way, the way he inspired me at that moment, and the way he reassured me that everything was going to be okay, and his nature at that point was so important to me, to inspire me to want to live that life of Sikhi. This whole experience has been really humbling, and I'm really glad and I feel lucky that I had this opportunity to share this experience with you. But in making this video, I'm sure I've made many mistakes, so please forgive me for those mistakes. And finally, just a few thoughts on Bhai Jagraj Singh himself. How do you sum up somebody like that? It's hard to find the words really, but all I can say is that those that heard his voice, those that watched his videos, and those that were blessed enough to meet him and be in his presence, they'll never ever forget him, and we won't ever be able to forget him, because he will always live on in the hearts and minds of the Sikhs all over the world. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.